Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, we're happy to have you in this rain. First, some sisterhood history. The first sisterhood of Temple Beth in Tacoma, Washington was established in 1960 before the unification of Temple Beth Israel, which was Reformed, and Temple Sinai, which was conservative. That took place. Only after the two sisterhoods came up to an agreement on how to set up the Temple Beth kitchen did the temples merge. I learned this from Barbara Rosenthal from an interview I did with her. The sisterhood women were also members of Hadassah and the Council of Jewish Women. Our sisterhood became a WRJ affiliate in 1960, 62 years ago. Today's sisterhood, Women's Shabbat, is an annual tradition where we acknowledge women of our sisterhood, past and present, who have volunteered countless hours to provide religious, social, tikkun olam, and fundraising events that support our mission, WRJ, and our community, as well as present our newly elected board members to our congregation. I'd just like to say a quick word, without tears, I hope. I've been really grateful for the last 4 years of being Sisterhood president. Wonderful people, wonderful collegiality, an unbelievable amount of volunteers. So thank you for that honor, and thank you to the board, and thank you to all of you who stepped up and supported us. Now, I would just like to say that we are going to hear from tonight Dion Herman, who is from Vancouver, Washington, our WRJ Pacific District Area Vice President, and Debbie Bramer, who has been really helpful to me over the last 4 years, from Portland, Oregon, our WRJ Area Director. And they will be involved with a part of the presentation and also the installation of officers. Thanks.
Shabbat Shalom. As our service begins, the mind and the body begin to quiet as we prepare to rise to praise God. We stand before you, O God, as a sisterhood in the company of our congregation. We bask in the warm glow of the lights we kindle. The sights of our family and our friends surrounds us. Our ears are filled with the joyous singing of our congregation. We await with anticipation for the sweet taste of Shabbat. Throughout our history, Shabbat has been the central part in Jewish life. From biblical times onward, it has been observed as a day of rest and spiritual rejuvenation. Families were drawn together on the Shabbat. Parents and children dined together, prayed together, studied together, and sang together. Shabbat is one of the best known and the least understood of all Jewish observances. It is the most important ritual observance in Judaism, and the only one written into the Ten Commandments. This evening we will try to understand the whys of Shabbat, and we will start by singing Ma Yafeh Hayom, and with that we will have Megan Cooley, our newest Temple Beth member and Sisterhood member, and our beloved pianist and, I can never say this word, accompanist, Debbie Jott, lead us as we sing this beautiful song. Are they coming up now? Mm-hmm.
Tonight we're going to talk about the choreography for Shabbat evenings. But first, it's Shabbat. let's relax and take a big, deep breath. Nobody needs it more than me. Oh, boy. Do you know you're not the only one who doesn't understand Hebrew? Who wonders what the prayers mean? Who feels funny about all or some of the choreography? Who doesn't sing very well? Most of the choreography, like bowing, is optional. We'll explain the movements that you are most likely to see in our congregation. Tonight is a time for you to give it a try and see if it's right for you. You won't know how it makes you feel unless you give it a try. Some of the there's only a few things that are required, and only if you're able. If you're able to stand for the Baruch Hu, which is the call to worship, the Amidah, and the Shema. Tonight, we will practice, and we have a lovely demonstrator right here. She's bowing from the waist. She's closing her eyes. She's approaching God, which is walking 3 steps forward and then walking 3 steps backwards. You can rise on your tiptoes when you hear the Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. And then you bend at the knees to bow. Okay. I think we're done with that. Yes. Come on up, ladies.
Why kindle candles on Friday nights? There is a midrash that in early Talmudic times, candles were kindled in every household every night of the week for the practical purpose of illuminating the home. An average dwelling consisted of 2 rooms, and usually 1 lighted candle would be carried from room to room to provide light as needed. But on Friday night, 2 candles were used, 1 for each room, since the carrying of lighted candles was prohibited. Immediately after lighting the candles, the eyes are covered and the blessing is recited. If a woman were to recite the blessing first, she would have ushered in the Sabbath before actually having kindled the candles. The custom of moving your hands in a circular motion 3 times is a tradition that suggests bringing the warmth and the light of Shabbat towards you. For many women, it evokes images of their mothers and grandmothers, and it is almost possible to feel their loving hands on our own eyes.
Lighting Shabbat candles creates a calm moment in an often harried week, like the steady sound of waves from an undisturbed ocean. Listen in that calm moment to a slower music, changing the frenetic beats of 6 busy days. Like the waves, Shabbat repeats its message: time to rest, time to think, to see with kinder eyes, to touch with gentler hands, to speak with a softer voice, to know a better way to pray with a bigger heart. It's there.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'echad l'kner shel Shabbat.
L'chadodi means come, my beloved. We welcome Shabbat that is referred to here as the bride, Kala, also known as Shekinah. The last verse of L'chadodi invokes the imagery of the beginning of a wedding as guests eagerly await the bride. Congregants rise and turn to face the entrance of the sanctuary at the beginning of the last verse, Boi v'shalom, enter in peace. During the last line of the verse, Boi kala, enter, O bride, we bow to the left, then to the right, then to the front. This is identical to the bowing we will speak of at the end of the mourner's Kaddish.
seated.
It is.
This is different.
Okay. Just do this.
You got it.
Okay.
The custom of moving your hands in a circular motion 3 times is a tradition that suggests bringing the warmth and the light of Shabbat toward you. This prayer is written in Aramaic and is used to mark the end of one section of a service and the beginning of the next. Kaddish comes from the Hebrew word for holiness. The Kaddish is called Hatzi Kaddish, or half Kaddish, because it omits one verse from the basic version. It is also the reader's Kaddish because it's used to separate the different parts of the service and offers a holy transition.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach hirotei v'yamlik malchutei B'chayekon u'yomekon U'v'chayei dakol Beit Yisrael B'gala U'vizman kariv V'imaru Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah Barak Yitbarak V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalo Shemei Dekudasha B'richu Leila min kol birchata V'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran b'yama v'imaru Amen.
Many years ago in Jerusalem, a priest would greet the first appearance of the sun with the exclamation, "Praise the Lord, to whom all praise is due." Later, this became a way to greet people together for worship. The people would say, "Praise the Lord, who is to be praised." Many prayers have been added before Baruch Hu over the years. It's no longer the first prayer to be said, but it begins the main part of the service. It tells us that it's time to get ready for the Shema, and on Saturdays, the reading of the Torah. When we recite the Baruch Hu, we bow at Baruch and rise at Adonai, because God lifts up those who are bowed down. Bowing together helps to create community as well as a personal connection to prayer, a link to God as well as to each other. So let's get ready.
La
The Shema is taken directly from Torah. Shema is not a prayer. It is the watchword for our faith, a testimony to God's oneness. The last letter of the first word Shema and the last letter of the last word Echad are often set in larger type to form the letters Ayin and Daled, and the word Eid is the Hebrew word for witness to the idea that one is giving testimony. Knowing one is primary importance since our religion is based on this principle. The tradition, and I just lost my page, sorry. The tradition is to cover one's eyes, usually with the palm of the right hand. The Shema is considered so important that some congregations rise out of respect when it is recited. The second line beginning with Baruch Shem Kavod is not in the Torah, and therefore we recite it more quietly.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
V'ahavta is taken from the verses in Deuteronomy following Shema. In Shema, we proclaim our belief in one God. In V'ahavta, we are commanded to love God. Shema and V'ahavta are written on the parchment inside a mezuzah. V'ahavta can be looked at as a what, how, and why. What is it that we affirm? You shall love God with all your heart, soul, and might. The next part of this liturgy, the how, is a to-do list of how to teach our children and to make these teachings known in our homes and along the paths of our lives. The tradition of a mezuzah on your doorpost and your gates, and the tradition of tefillin, the sign on your hand and a symbol on your forehead, came from this section. V'ahavta is often chanted with Torah trope to remind us that the text comes directly from the Torah. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol pirdecha v'hayu hadarim ha'evre asher anochi mestavecha hayom ha'levavecha v'shinatam levachnecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'vaktecha v'derech u'shokbecha u'vrunecha u'shartam d'leihot ha'decha v'hayu totafo b'neinecha u'tavtam al-mezuzo b'techa u'visharecha Laman tizkeru va'asitem ekol mitzvotai ve'etem kedoshim ve'lechem ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher Hotzeitichem me'eretz Mitzrayim, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
The Song of the Sea in the book of Exodus is also known as Miriam's song. It was sung as the Israelites arrived at the other side of the Sea of Reeds. We remind ourselves that freedom from enslavement is central to our sacred story. We sing aloud, offer praise, reconnect with this moment of redemption, and reaffirm our commitment to counting our own blessings.
She sang her song, sing a song to the one whom we've exalted. Miriam and the women danced and danced the whole night long. And Miriam was a weaver of unique variety. The tapestry she wove was one that sang our history. With every strand and every sand she chanted her delight. A woman touched with spirit, she dances towards the light. Danced and danced all night long. When wind chips upon the shores and glazed across the sea, the wonder of this miracle she soon came to believe. Whoever thought the sea would part with an outstretched hand, and we would pass to freedom and march to the promised land.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day ceased from work and was refreshed.
To humble oneself before God, we bend our knees and bow at both the beginning and the end of the first blessing, while saying, Baruch atah, blessed are you. One should stand erect in time to say God's name, Adonai. While saying that line, it is customary to bow 3 times toward the left, toward the right, and then forward. This is again symbolic of a subject leaving a king. Some congregations may not do this. Please rise for tefillin and follow the choreography seen on the slides.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Gula Lifnei V'Nehem Leman Shemo Ve'ahava Melech Ozer Umashiach Umagin Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'elam Adonai Mechayei Hakol Atah Rav Le'oshia Morid Atah Mechalchel Chaim B'chesed Mechayei Hakol B'rachamim Rabim Somek Noflim V'rofeh Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Avar Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melach Menid Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lechayot hachol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh hachol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kedoshim b'kol yom yahalu chasela Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
You did it. Please be seated. Think about what good things you have going on this week. We give thanks. Altogether, please, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks.
Please do a silent prayer. have the pleasure of introducing to you Dion Herman. She is our area vice president for WRJ Pacific District. And she's come all the way from Vancouver, Washington to be here tonight, so we really appreciate her. She leads a team of area directors throughout the Pacific District, from Seattle all the way to El Paso, Texas. In her role as the area vice president, she acts as the liaison between the WRJ Pacific District and WRJ National, and local sisterhoods via the area directors. Prior to her current position, she was president of her sisterhood, which is Kolami in Vancouver. And she was also the co-chair for her Temple Social Action Committee, a Temple board trustee, and co-chair of her Temple's Tikkun Platoon, which helps Temple members in the need. In her professional life, she works as the Assistant Regional Long-Term Care Ombudsman of Southwest Washington, a volunteer-based nonprofit that advocates for the rights of vulnerable adults living in long-term care. She lives in Vancouver with her husband, Dennis, of 25 years, her younger adult son, and their dog, Istanbul. That's a great name. Her older son, Zach, just graduated from University of Puget Sound and is currently in New York with the Summer Fellowship for Jewish Organization. Come on up, Dion.
Hello, everybody. I just realized, you know how I speak all the time, but I just realized, and I mentioned to Debbie, this is my first time speaking to people not on a computer box or Zoom in 3 years. So excuse me if I look, yeah, it's nice, huh? Yeah, so excuse me if I look down a bit because I'm not used to people not knowing when I'm cheating because I usually have it, right here and they can't see what I'm looking at on Zoom. So, So anyway, good evening, everyone. As Marlene said, my name is Dion Herman, and I'm the Area Vice President for the Women of Reformed Judaism Pacific District, one of the Area Vice Presidents. There are 3 of us. And before I begin, I just want to thank Marlene Matola for making this amazing service. I noticed there's a little symbol down here from my sisterhood, so I think we shared some PowerPoints because we did this fabulous presentation as well, and also for the hospitality of your home as well. We really appreciate John and Marlene for that. Anyway, and as she kind of said, my son just graduated in May, so Tacoma has a little place in my heart, and he was here, and unfortunately COVID hit, but he just finished up actually in Prague. But I love Tacoma. It's a beautiful town that we've gotten to know a lot better since he was up here. So thanks for that. Anyway, it is my pleasure to be here to speak to you briefly about the history, scope, and platforms of the Women of Reformed Judaism, and especially how the WRJ strives to support and work with your sisterhood and each and every sisterhood and Reformed Jewish women in North America. Oh, you're already there. You're ahead of me, John. Okay, this is our sisterhood's mission, our WRJ mission statement. The Women in Reformed Judaism strengthens the voice of women worldwide and empowers them to create caring communities, nurture congregations, cultivate personal and spiritual growth, and advocate for and promote progressive Judaism. So this is who we are and what we do. We work to help our sisterhoods to be the best women's groups they can be. We work to educate our women so they can best help their sisterhoods and congregations. And we work to help develop personal growth and leadership skills for each woman. We also work to support and promote the values that share on both North American and global scale. The objective in the bylaws of your sisterhood, which I looked up, state that it shall be the purpose of the Sisterhood of Temple Beth to promote the highest ideals of Reformed Jewish women through a program of education, religion, social action, and service to humanitarian causes. And conveniently, that is exactly the kind of work that the WRJ is pursuing on both national and international levels. Oh, you're ahead of me every time I get there. Okay, sorry. I'll look at you, John. I'll look at you when it's time. So, WRJ in action. So on January 21st, 1913, 156 delegates representing 52 congregational women's groups met in Cincinnati, Ohio, to organize the National Federation of Temple Sisterhoods, now known as the Women of Reformed Judaism, 1913. So it was a time of fighting for women's right to vote, and we were led and populated by intelligent, capable women, who then had few rights either as citizens or as members of the Jewish community. Today, WRJ has over 65,000 members across North America. Since 1913, WRJ has been a leader in the reform movement, with an illustrious and successful history promoting women's leadership and working diligently for social action. Here's just a few of the things the WRJ has both supported and pioneered over the years. The WRJ built the first dormitory for rabbinical students at the Hebrew Union College campus in Cincinnati. They pioneered Judaica shops in temples as a way to teach congregants how to use ritual objects at home. That's something we never think about, that they didn't actually do it at home, and we pioneered that, which is kind of neat. Go ahead, John. The WRJ has been, next slide. Maybe. I'll keep going, catch up. The WRJ has been part of the United Nations since its inception, and they have helped pass resolutions protesting child labor, fighting for civil rights, and seeking access to birth control. There we are. Okay, you can go ahead to the next one. Yes, absolutely. And we're working hard on that advocacy right now. So the YES Fund was set up to nurture the leaders of tomorrow. In the Jewish community, through philanthropic endeavors, the WRJ provides grants through its YES Fund, which is Youth Education and Special Projects. We do scholarships to training for female rabbinical students, cantorial students, and Jewish educators at each of the 3 Hebrew Union campuses in New York, LA, and Cincinnati. We also were the initial founders of the PJ Library. So how many of you guys know about the PJ Library? Right? Don't we all, especially if you've got kids, or maybe there might be in this group people that benefited from it. The families receive a Jewish children's book each month that parents and grandparents can read with their children and speak about Jewish values and traditions. Each month, PJ Library ships 230,000 books, and to date has shipped more than 19.5 million books in the United States and Canada. It's a fabulous program engaging young children and the families. Go ahead, next slide. So we were instrumental in the ordination of the first female rabbi, Sally Prisan, in 1972. Kind of a fun fact, last weekend was actually her 50th anniversary of having been installed as the first woman rabbi. She wrote if you ever want to look it up, a beautiful tribute poem was written to her, and she wrote a beautiful devar for that. One of the things I am most proud of is the WRJ's The Torah, a Women's Commentary. We commissioned this for the WRJ Centennial in 2013. This is a scholarly yet accessible, first of its kind, written by women and only women. The female scholars in the fields of Jewish history, philosophy, and anthropology, as well as learned female rabbis, educators, and cantors from all streams of Judaism, collaborated with the WRJ and gives the Torah a women's commentary to every first-year rabbinical student, male or female. Next slide. Nifty. So how about Nifty? How many of you have had children in Nifty? Got a few there, okay. How many of you grandchildren that are in Nifty? Okay. Anybody here that was themselves in Nifty? We got a few of those. Nifty is near and dear to my heart. It was a guiding star for my children. Living in, Vancouver, you can imagine there's not a lot of Jewish population. We were meeting in a little warehouse for a long time. We finally have a synagogue, and so it was a real grounding stone for my children. And actually, my son Zachary, who just graduated, was the Nifty North American president in 2018. So it really changed his life. It made things happen for both of them, and it's a wonderful thing. So anyway, what some people do not know about Nifty is that it was the WRJ that started the whole idea of youth groups. They developed the National Federation of Temple Youth and solely supported them for the first 20 years of their existence. We still support NIFTY through grants and scholarships, as well as supporting our other URJ camps, and we even pay special interest to sending young women to STEM camps to support the concept of women being more advanced in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Go ahead, next slide. Women of the Wall. The WRJ supports Women of the Wall. Women should not be arrested for holding and reading a Torah. That's just unbelievable to me. We contribute to the Israeli Religious Action Center, which fights to establish civil liberties, human rights, and religious freedoms for all Jews in Israel. We support the World Union of Progressive Judaism in Israel, Europe, South America, and the former Soviet Union. Go ahead. Through partnership with the Religious Action Center in the U.S. and in Israel, Planned Parenthood, Hadassah, Jewish Women's International, the WRJ also not only speaks up, but acts to support a host of women's issues, including equal pay, women's health and reproductive rights, children's education and welfare, stopping violence against women, and environmental topics. For example, the WRJ engages a legislative assistant at the Religious Action Center, the lobbying arm of the Reform Movement. The WRJ legislative assistant provides critical updates and context to pending legislation and important judicial cases. The WRJ also supports women like you and me and trains us through classes and conferences to hone our leadership skills so that we may help our congregations and our communities and to ensure that there continues to be a Jewish women leaders and thought makers for a meaningful and vibrant Jewish community. Our affiliation with the WRJ combines the voice of your sisterhood together with our sisterhoods in the U.S. and around the world, creating one unified voice and proving that we, as Jewish women, truly are stronger together. As a part of WRJ, your sisterhood will see the power of community, tens of thousands of like-minded, strong Jewish women in hundreds of sisterhoods who are able to advocate with one vote. So next question is, how does kind of work for us here on the actual sisterhood level? That's the upper level and the next level. So we'll go into that. Thank you. So the WRJ organizes our North American members to better serve you. We're actually divided into 7 districts, actually soon to be 6 because they're combining one of the districts. But we are the Pacific District, the largest, and if I do not say so, the best. Our current district president is Cher Kirschmar. She is a good friend of mine, and she is out of Southern California. And that's another neat thing. We have presidents from all over. Our incoming president is actually Carol Schuster, and she is in Bellevue, Washington. So it's really neat that it just spreads out, and it's all over the place. And let's see. The district provides close contact with sisterhoods, offering smaller venues such as district conventions that can be more accessible than very large or distant venues. Districts are the conduit for a flow of information from the WRJ to you, and then from you, because we always want to hear from you, to the WRJ. You can attend online webinars, social events, online or in-person speaker trainings, educational and leadership skills classes, and in fact, on July 29th to 31st, you can join me and several of your other sisters here up at Temple Shalom in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, for what is called an area event. It's a weekend full of leadership trainings and social gatherings where you can learn everything there is to know and everything related to sisterhoods. And it's super, super fun. And we never want to hear that finances are lack of finances is a barrier, so we do offer scholarships for that. And you can always check if your sisterhood offers anything for you in that way as well. As a WRJ affiliated sisterhood, did you guys know that you have someone called an area director? Your area director is right over there, and her name is Debbie Bramer, and she's going to be doing your installation in just a little while. And Debbie is someone who is there for your individual sisterhood. She's there to answer your questions and get you info on programs that interest you. She's there to let you know on anything and everything related to the WRJ. Debbie is a fabulous resource, and I encourage you to continue to connect with her, because I know you already have been, thus she is here tonight, and utilize her and her knowledge and her skills. Go ahead. Next, John. You get friendship and mentorship connecting with other sisterhoods, not only across the West Coast, but through COVID virtually. I mean, as you saw, I have sisterhoods in El Paso, Texas, and and everywhere. I am spread everywhere, and it's amazing that I feel like I still know everybody personally because we have connected so well over Zoom. You get tikkun olam opportunities, chances to join with other Jewish women to support and repair the world. You get spirituality, roots and wings, women's ownership of ritual text, tradition, Jewish learning and participation, religious life of women. Let's see, other goodies that the WRJA has to offer. We have the Speakers Bureau. Each sisterhood or women's group is entitled to have a WRJ speaker every 2 years at no cost to the group, and a district speaker in the alternating years. And in fact, I am here tonight as a representative of the Speakers Bureau. Every single year, you can have a speaker either locally or online on a topic of interest to you. Anything, really anything. From Jewish prayer, to budgeting, to social media, to marketing, to conflict resolution, techniques, you name it, and we have an expert that's here and available to come speak to your sisterhood about it. And go ahead, next slide, John. And there is so much virtual programming. We were Zooming before Zoom was a thing, I'm just telling you. And now we've stepped up a whole nother notch for those that aren't completely fed up with Zooming, because I am a little sometimes. It's still kind of fun, but I know we're all a little tired of it. Anyway, so the WRJ provides opportunities for engagement and ways to connect. And there are files galore, and I can tell you how to access those mysterious files, but we have everything to offer you, from doing your own program, flyers, ideas, fundraisers, you name it. We have cooking get-togethers on Zoom. We have demonstrations. We have book clubs. A great group we have is called Film, Fiction, and Wine. We have Israeli events, including virtual tours. If you have not done a virtual tour, they're amazing. And we also do Rosh Chodesh events. And that's just a little bit of what we do. Next slide. You get access to the Tuesday Highline, an online newsletter that comes out every first and third Tuesday, telling you all about the activities in our district. You can get on the Highline distribution list if you send a request to highlinewrjpd@gmail.com. You don't have to be on the board or anything like that. Everybody can have access to the Highline that comes twice a month in their mail. Let's see. And you also get access to Yammer. Yammer is our online information network, and you can ask questions of other sisters and leaders. I always kind of say it's kind of like Facebook for us, but I don't like to say that because some people hate Facebook, so it's kind of like Facebook, but not quite like Facebook. You have to check it out and see. But you can use it how you want to use it. They have topics from everything from webinars, budgeting, board management, board training, writing a service to Devar, trainings on how to do Zoom. If you're not a big, I don't want to be on a platform person, what they have is a whole ton of files where you can just search programs, search ideas, download PowerPoints like this, download webinars, and then if you like connecting, they have groups. So there's actually a gift shop group, and a president group, and a member group. So you can actually get groups of other Judaica shop people all over the country and share, like, who do you use? What kind of, and treasurers. I'm always see things about, what platform do you use for treasuring? I don't think that's a word, but what platform do you use? And things like that. So it's got all kinds of things to offer you. Go ahead, next slide, John. So the WRJ gives each woman of Reformed Judaism a chance to learn leadership skills, dig deeper into their spirituality, learn about contemporary issues, while connecting in a community of women with shared values. The WRJ harvests the power of women to do meaningful and significant work in the Jewish and secular universe through philanthropy and advocacy. And I want to end just by telling you how WRJ has personally provided me with an opportunity to learn and grow. When our sisterhood joined the WRJ, which was not all that long ago, I understood the basic benefits that we were getting from joining, becoming more organized and official as a sisterhood, a little autonomy, all that kind of stuff. However, at the time, not only did I not plan to become the president of my sisterhood, there was no way in my wildest dreams did I ever thought I would join the WRJ Pacific District Board. But I'll tell you, for me, it was the first convention that sold me. I attended the convention of installation of Ellen Bick in Portland, Oregon, and I think Debbie ran that convention. And I was actually scholarshiped, and someone offered to share a room with me and said, just come, we just want you to come. And I came, and the level of camaraderie in that room of these women all united and all together was just a feeling, all these women and strong, spiritual, amazing, and it was like a switch just clicked and said, I want to be a part of this on a bigger scale. And it was an amazing experience. So I highly recommend going to convention if you can. The WRJ has supported me not just through all the leadership training I've received, which is a lot, but also and especially through a group of women whose friendship truly has enriched my life. All will I continue to serve my community, do tikkun olam, and pass all of this on to the next generation, the door of a door for the future of Judaism and the Jewish people. I feel connected and supported. The WRJ can be here for you and for your sisters too, because we truly are stronger together. Next slide. So thank you for your time. I hope I've shared some knowledge and given some insight into history and the world of the WRJ. And please feel free to reach out to me or any of these numbers with any questions or any concerns. I'm happy to speak to any of you. And thank you. And if you have any questions, chat me up. And Shabbat Shalom.
We had an idea of which mics we were going to use, but that's gone to somewhere else. Thank you very much, Dion. That was awesome. And next, I'm going to call up our area director, Debbie Bramer. Debbie Bramer is our WRJ Pacific Northwest area director. She has supported Maddie Plumer and a lot of our sisterhood members. Come on up. Her role is to support sisterhood presidents and has been doing this for almost 3+ years. I think you've done it more. Okay. I think you're in your second. Anyway, she will soon be supporting our newly elected co-presidents. Debbie lives in Hillsborough, which is near a suburb of Portland. She lives with her husband David of 39 years, and they have a daughter in LA. They are Congregation Beth Israel congregants, where Debbie started working on the Youth Ed Committee in 1989. That involvement sparked her interest in sisterhood, and the rest is history. Debbie has chaired numerous committees over the years. She states the highlight was being the local chair, arrangement chair, for the 2012 WRJ Pacific District Convention, which was in Portland, when her friend Ellen Beck became district president. Sounds familiar. Debbie has been an area director since 2018, working with sisterhoods throughout Tacoma, Seattle, and Northern California. She enjoys working with our sisterhood and looks forward to continuing the lifelong connections with our sisterhood.
Thank you.
You want to go over here now?
We'll dance. We're dancing. Perfect. Good evening. I see so many familiar faces because I was here just a year ago. So it's nice to see you again, and I look forward to having a few minutes with each and every one of you for a bit. It is my honor, pleasure, and enjoyment to be participating in tonight's Sisterhood of Temple Beth El's installation. This evening is a sacred moment, a time of blessing, a time of acknowledgement and holiness and the work of what we do. Time to recognize the many blessings we give and receive as women of Reformed Judaism. Regularly at Bethel, a young person's religious education is enhanced by sisterhood. A person alone or in mourning is comforted by sisterhood. A worship service is enriched by sisterhood voices. A woman learns more about living Jewishly in sisterhood. Tonight, we join together to express our gratitude to the outgoing and incoming board of the Sisterhood of Temple Beth El. The outgoing members remain part of the sisterhood, while incoming members join together and continue to build on the strength of the organization. Could the ladies of the outgoing board Please come forward when I call your name. President, Maddie Plumer. She already knew I was going to call her first. Good job. Come on ahead. Co-president, not. Vice President, Bonnie Becker. Treasurer, Carrie Geffen. Mentor, and Marlene Matola. I think you want everybody to be right behind me.
Why don't you come right here on this line?
Yeah, that might work.
There you go.
Recording Secretary, Madeline Pimentel Diaz. Barbara Agua. Corresponding Secretary, Donna Reisberg. I'm sorry I don't have an attendance list, so if I'm calling your name, if I'm calling a name and they're not here, I apologize. Membership, Terry Grayson. Communications, Rebecca Candizzaro. Am I close? Mm-hmm. Not bad. It's a good start. Olivia Goodman. Not here. Jotea Kashab. Lisa isn't coming? Oh, she's not here. Okay. Judaica Shop bookkeeper. Linda Brown, not here? I didn't recognize her either. Historian, Barbara Agua.
Right here?
Oh, you came up, and you're right there, tucked away.
I've done 3 jobs
No problem.
this year.
No problem. I get it.
Peter.
These ladies are truly dedicated women who have given of their time, inspiration, skills, leadership, making their women's group stronger while continuing to build on the foundation of sisterhood. Your hard work, friendship, and dedication is appreciated, and we thank you for your service. You are now officially discharged. The job's over. Don't go anywhere. Trust me, don't go anywhere. So, with these ladies, now please step forward when I call your name. It'll be for our other, pardon? Oh, here, scared me. Yes, our incoming officers for 2022-2024. And we're going to kind of try to squeeze everybody up here, sorry. Presidents, co-presidents, Bonnie Becker, Madeline Pimentel Diaz. Vice President and Historian, Barbara Agua. Treasurer, shortcut, Marlene Matola. Recording Secretary, Adria Farber.
I'm sorry. I'm going to sit here.
I think they're. You can come. She's coming up right along. Right behind me. Membership, Terry Grayson.
I'm here.
You're still there. You didn't sneak around and go sit down? Okay, that's fine. Judaica Shop, Iris Fudel, and Rivka Furi. Come on.
The dynamic duo.
Judaica Shop bookkeeper, Trish McCoy Ross.
She's not.
She's not here. Okay. What are you looking for?
Never mind. I'm just going to read
You
this.
got it? Okay. This is a day of installing leadership. This is a day of accepting duty. This is the day of sharing responsibility, and this is a day of rededicating ourselves as women of faith. Each of you will bring to this position your energy, perspective, insights, and leadership while continuing the beauty of the Sisterhood's Jewish traditions. You will share your wisdom and strengthen the connections within your sisterhood, the congregation, and community. As you take the oath of these positions, be proud of what brought you to this point and passionate about challenges ahead. Know that you are a role model to other women, to daughters, to granddaughters, and to fellow sisters. And may your term of leadership be rewarding, successful, meaningful, and filled with laughter and joy, the best part. Officers for incoming term of 2022-2024, please repeat after me. I solemnly.
She goes first.
We're ready to go. We were doing that was a ventriloquist act for a moment there. I wasn't moving. Okay. Ready. I solemnly pledge to perform.
I solemnly pledge to perform
the duties of the office I now assume.
the duties of the office I now assume
Impartially, consistently, and in accordance with
impartially, consistently, and in accordance with
the Constitution of WRJ and the bylaws
with the Constitution of WRJ and the bylaws
of the Sisterhood of Temple Beth El, Tacoma, Washington.
of the Sisterhood of Temple Beth El, Tacoma, Washington.
Perfect. On behalf of WRJ, Pacific District, and myself, I extend heartfelt mazel tov, and may you go from strength to strength. Mazel tov. Stay put, don't go, we're not leaving. Sorry, we have one more thing that we wanted to add in. Since COVID has happened, it kind of set things back. And so we would like to spend a few moments and present some pins to our past presidents and co-presidents. Also go over a few acknowledgments that we have for other people that have also not gotten the pins that are necessary that they have. So if we could take a moment, and when I call your name, please join us and come forward. Sarah Rombau. Is that you? Oh, good. Perfect. And Carrie Geffen's up here. I know that Jody Hirschgold and Amy...
They're not here. Yeah.
Pardon?
They're not here.
They're not here this evening, so they're absent, but we'll recite that. So Sarah was serving for 2012 to 2014 as president. Carrie Geffen was serving 2014 to 2016. Jody and Amy were co-presidents for 2016 to 2018. And most recently, as we all know, Maddie Plumer served 2018 to 2022. We would also like to acknowledge our incoming co-presidents with president's pins also. Bonnie Becker, I think you're right behind me still, and Madeline, where did she go?
Right here.
Right here.
She's right here.
Oh, on that side. Madeline, perfectly. That'll be great. So for a moment here, Dion's going to be my Vanna White and put together, passing out the pins for us and those. So, and Marlene will help, so that'll be perfect. So while they're working on that, I'll go into my song and dance. Trust me, you wouldn't want to hear that. So I will also like to say that there's going to be 2 special service pins that are also going to be handed out. And Adria is, there you are. So you'll be receiving a pin too, but they're still working on passing these out. So that'll take us a couple seconds. I did appreciate the fact that it was pouring cats and dogs today on the drive up here. I hadn't seen so much water since I left Multnomah Falls in Portland. But we finally made it, and so it was nice. But I do remember last year being on the courtyard, and it was a beautiful evening, so that would have been very nice. So your pins are going out as we're pinning people, and Maddie, you're going to get pinned momentarily.
Sure. I had nothing more to say for a minute.
I just wanted to say that if it wasn't for serving on our sisterhood as president, I don't think I ever would have become president of our temple, and I wouldn't be a city council member today. So I just want you to know that sisterhood really does bring out the leadership that we need in our community, and women are wonderful, and I'm so excited that we're going to have our first rabbi that's a woman coming to our temple. And I want to thank you all for believing in the spirit of what sisterhood is about. Thank you.
Yeah.
You want to just travel with me? I've got about 4 more stops in a few days. Come on ahead, come on. There's room in the car. We can all get together.
Thank you. First amount of women on my city council that are women. It's more women than men. It's the first time ever in history. Very nice.
Well, very, very nice. That's very exciting. So, is there anybody that hasn't gotten their pin yet? Everybody pretty much has their pin?
I'm close.
We're very close. Okay. You're doing. She's right there. Watching, standing here behind me.
Okay.
I'm going to say my thing. I just want to make sure that, no, it's fine. So, ladies, I'm just going to grab your attention for another minute.
Yeah, I'll talk to you.
We also have 2 special service pins. So, Adria Farber is one of our recipients. Lisa Sobel is our other recipient. Adrian has chaired the Break the Fast meal for several years and has been instrumental on just about every committee that Sisterhood has had. She is a hard worker, and we're so pleased that she has become the new recording secretary.
How do you get this open?
Oh, you have to talk to... we had to learn the gimmick. That was
because we were
military. Perfect. Yeah.
Can I put this on you?
Thank you. She's pinning you in. Thank you. So we're going to make sure that Lisa gets hers. Lisa managed the Judaica shop for 14 years. She recruited volunteers, and while she mentors Iris and Rivka, she continues to do the buying until they're comfortable taking it over. And Bonnie, I think you have something you want to take care of.
Maddie.
And Matt too. Great.
So Maddie and I just wanted to pass on a gift of appreciation to our outgoing president, Maddie Plumer, who has been in this role for 4 years. And if you saw how much giggling there was up here while we were getting pinned, there was a lot of giggling at our meetings as well. Lots of reasons to come join us. There's a lot of levity. But every once in a while, Maddie would travel, and as vice president, I would step into her role, and I suddenly realized how huge a job she did and how smoothly and sort of effortlessly she seemed to do this work for 4 years, and joyfully. Every time she had an opportunity to talk about her experience of being president of Sisterhood, she talked about how rewarding and meaningful it was for her. So we wanted to give you a gift from both of us that sort of come from our places, and just really excited to fill your shoes. We need 2 of us to fill your shoes. So mazel tov.
You're welcome.
So just to sum things up, let's all make sure that these amazing women know how much they are appreciated for everything they do. I've only been here twice, and I'm already finding this is famished. For everything that they do for Temple Beth family. Sim Tov, Mazel Tov, Sim Tov and Mazel Tov. Sim Tov, Mazel Tov. I'm done.
Debbie, thank you. You've been great.
I wasn't going to cry. And then all of a sudden, got stuck. And Rebecca,
going to do your announcements.
I also need a cheat sheet. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's really great to be with you all on this rainy night back in the sanctuary. Thank you so much for joining us. I have been tasked with announcements, so forgive me if I stumble. I have not done this before. So we will start with tomorrow. We have Torah study and our Shabbat service at 9 and 10 on Zoom only. And tomorrow evening is our Zoom Havdalah at 7:30. Links to all of these are in your Shabbat Shalom email. For all of our families with kiddos, don't forget, our first summer park play date of 2022 is this Sunday at 10 a.m. at the Kids Gig Playground in Gig Harbor. On Tuesday, June 14th at 4:30 on Zoom, this is kind of exciting, join Keshet, the Women of Reform Judaism, and the Religious Action Center for an active allyship to learn how the current trends in anti-LGBTQ+ and anti-abortion legislation and threats to bodily autonomy are interconnected. Got some interesting speakers for that one. Thursday, June 16th, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. is our speaker series, Tikkun Olam for Climate Justice. That's going to be multi-access in person and online. And that one is featuring Dr. Heather Price. I believe that is daughter of our own Carol Umbacher. As we learn about climate change in the news, our children and grandchildren are worried about it, and many of us want to know how to connect this knowledge with our lives, careers, and communities. Temple Hikers comes back on June 19th at 8 a.m. for a hike to Greenwater Lakes. You can meet at the temple on Sunday, June 19th at 8. If you prefer to meet at the trailhead, a Northwest Trail Pass is required. You just need to RSVP to David Wheeler. And FYI, if you have not ever gone on a temple hike, they're amazing. Last but not least is our Pride Shabbat 2022, also multi-access. That's going to be Friday, June 24th, beginning at 5:30 and going until 8. Join the Seattle Jewish community for Pride Shabbat. This year's event is going to be held in conjunction with the Temple de Hirsch Sinai on Capitol Hill during Seattle's Pride Month. It's open to the community and is a celebration of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer Jews, friends, families, and allies of all ages. And that is it for announcements. Thank you, everybody.
Good job.
Doesn't Bob come on? Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take a centering breath to redirect our thoughts back to our concluding prayers for our service. We now take a moment to think of those who are in need of healing. This week, we are thinking about all of those affected by violence in our world, in our nation, in our city. And if you'd like to share a name, if you're here with us, you can share out loud. And if you're here with us virtually, you can share in the chat. I missed Joyce. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jack Motola, Marilyn Bradley.
And my friend Ashley O'Banion. Okay. Please join us in this prayer of healing.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Elena confirms that we are obligated to serve as God's partners in the completion of creation. In Elenu, we speak of the present and future. As we open the ark, we stand. In the first part of Elenu l'Shabbat, we speak as God's people.
We pause for a moment before starting the second part and following the choreography. We bend the knees at Korim and bend the waist at Mishtachavim and straighten up after Modim.
The hope we express in the third part is that all humankind will come to the knowledge that we are brothers and sisters, united in friendship, called to make God one by making God's world one world. Everyone please rise.
So you do this and I will be up here to bend.
Okay.
Do you want to just do the whole thing?
No. Let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, Adonai our God, let them pay homage. Let them give glory to your honored name. All
Just keep going.
reign over soon and forever. For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written in your Torah. Adonai will reign forever and ever. Thus it has been said, Adonai will become sovereign of all the earth. On that day, Adonai will become one, and God's name will be one.
לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, ששנו אותנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני Adonai echad, Ushemo, Ushemo, Ushemo echad.
The Kaddish, or Mourner's Prayer, is an ancient Aramaic poem that is recited during synagogue services. It is an expression of faith on the part of the mourner. The Kaddish declares the magnificence of God. It makes no direct reference to death. In our congregation, we all stand to recite the Kaddish, though in some congregations, only those who are in mourning observe a yahrzeit will stand. Although most at TBE don't, it is traditional to bow at each Amen, at Yit Yabar, and Yit Brikhut. For Oseh Shalom, it is customary to take 3 steps back, if possible, then bow to your left, then to your right, and finally bow forward, as if taking leave of the presence of a king, in the same way as when those words are used as the concluding line of the Lecha Dodi. At this time, we'd like to ask for those who are observing a yahrzeit to say the names of those.
Paul Krasnowski and Lori Berman Weinstein.
Okay, anyone else? Yes? Okay. Okay. Yes, Harmon? Yes, ma'am? Anyone else? All right. Also, if you're watching virtually, you can go ahead and put the name of those individuals in the chat. We'll also be observing the yahrzeits for Noreen Barnes, Louis B. Dietz, Leon Epstein, Susan Gibson, Raleigh Hyman, Sylvan Kahn, Esther Kleiner, Morris Leon, Simon Newman, Vicky Nyborg Beltomoma, Celia Rothstein, Sylvia Seinfeld, Paul Solomon, Faye Winokur, Loretta Davis, Aaron Ellen, Bess Farber, Doris Giles, Bert Jacobs, David Kanofsky, Jerry Lasky, Meyer Bud Mandels, Randall Payton, Arthur Powell, Laura Sarney, Blossom Leishman Shelton, Irving Steinman, Hilda Wolfers, Alan Davis, Harold Epstein, Jules Friedman, Homer L. Goldblatt, Beverly Jess, Monica Katz, Joyce Lee Page, Nochem Mesher, Ralph Payton, Bernice Rosenthal, Celia Steinfeld, Karen Simmons, John Warnick, and Joe L. Wolf.
People are losing it. Okay. Carolyn? Yeah.
Yitkadah, Yitkadah, Shemay Rabbah, V'alma, V'vra, Kirate, V'amlik Malchute, V'chayachom, U'v'yamachom. Uchayed Ho Beit Israel, Ba'agala Uzman Kariv Yimaru, Amen. Yehesh Me Rabba Mubarak, Le'olam Olamei Homaya. Yitbarak, Yishtadrak, Yitpa'ar, Yitroman, Yitnaseh, Yithadar, Yitaleh, Yitala, Shmeid Kudashah, Brihu. Le'eh Yakol Ta Vishirata, Tushbachata Venechemata, Damim Ram Yamha Bimuru, Amen. Yehe Shwama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'yakor Yisrael Bimuru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimramav, Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yakor Yisrael Bimuru, Amen.
Okay. Oyavo shalom aleinu, Oyavo shalom aleinu, Oyavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Oyavo shalom aleinu, Oyavo shalom aleinu, Oyavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom, salam, aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam, salam, shalom. One more time. Oyavo shalom aleinu, Oyavo shalom aleinu, Oyavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Oyavo shalom aleinu, Oyavo shalom aleinu, Oyavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam shalom. Shabbat shalom.
So we want to pause for a moment and just say a couple of thank yous. Thank you, as usual, to security, our amazing tech team. We need more folks to do tech team, so please consider joining that group. A huge shout out to my friend and coworker, Megan. You've all been introduced to her lovely voice, and I hope we'll be hearing a lot of it, and as well as Debbie for accompaniment and practice. Members of the choir, it was really so beautiful. I was really looking forward to that and having that in person. Sorry for the folks that were online. Hopefully it sounded as nice online. The huge number of women who participated, I was just so moved. A bunch of us sort of lay folk just did a service together as a collaborative effort, which was just so beautiful. I'm just really proud of what we've done here tonight. Our WRJ guests, thank you so much for coming and making this so special. But Maddie and I particularly wanted to thank Miss Marlene Motola, if you could come forward. I'm not sure you know how much work Marlene puts into this service. I think you probably saw her in the back the entire time, and you saw all of us with our color-coded scripts, and everything just went so beautifully. I think you had a vision, and you made that vision come to life tonight, and we all got to benefit from that, so thank you.
Thank you very much for the flowers. They're awesome.
And so with that, I'd like to invite Mira to come join her mom and her teacher. And Maddie and I are going to close us out with the Kiddush and the Motzi. So, Kiddush. Wine was a beverage in daily use in Talmudic times. A blessing was recited whenever it was drunk. Reciting Kiddush became part of the Shabbat service between the 6th and 4th century BCE. and was instituted by the men of the Great Assembly. It celebrates the creation in Exodus. The Kiddush is recited at home before Shabbat and holiday meals. It has become part of our synagogue Erev Shabbat service.
The vine sprouts and grows. It puts forth leaves that unfurl and stretch towards heaven, basking in the warmth of the sun. The vine matures and produces fruit. The cycle of life can begin anew. The sweet, cool grape hangs on the vine. The grape is picked and transformed into this dark, sweet wine, a symbol of joy. We celebrate the freedom to take within ourselves, with each sip, the spirit and peace of Shabbat.
All right, everybody together, please rise. Here we go. Baruch
atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'rotzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'hachshot chatzon kinchivanu, zikaron la'maseh bereishit, ki hu yom tehillah l'nefrae kodesh, zelech litzayanu Mitzrayim, ki banu v'ahata ve'onu v'dashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'hanadu ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Chaim. Just a little preview for this one's bat mitzvah coming up in a couple years. I think you read the next one, Meg.
Why challah on Shabbat? The word challah was first used in the Bible. Please have a seat. Okay. The word challah was first used in the Bible to describe the 12 shortbreads that were arranged on the altar of the tabernacle. Some homes have 2 loaves of bread on the Shabbat table. This is explained as an extension of the old practice of serving a loaf of bread with each cooked dish. In ancient times, it was customary on weekends to eat only one cooked dish. Therefore, only one loaf of bread was placed on the table. But on Shabbat, 2 cooked dishes were served in order to add to the joyous nature of the day, each with its own loaf of bread. It is customary to braid the challah that we eat on Shabbat. We braid each one with 3 strands together. The 2 shallot have 6 strands. This signifies the 6 days of the week preceding the Shabbat. When we braid the challah, we bring those 6 days together, creating unity and harmony in our lives by celebrating Shabbat. In the busy of a busy Friday, my hands twist dough to make challah as though I've done this hundreds of times. Have I? Or are other generations kneading and pulling this dough along with me, the way my mothers did before me? We hold the 2 chalot up, recite the blessing, and sprinkle them with the salt of life. Okay.
Baruch
atah Adonai Eloheinu.
Freeman make this? Yeah. So thank you for that. That's another thank you to add. Please join us in the social hall. We have loaded it up with sweets like good sisterhoods always should. So please join us. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom and thank you.
Come grab some challah on your way out.
That's beautiful.
Oh. Hello, hello.